Georgia, Ms. Greene.
Gentlewoman from Georgia is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of the debate here for the rule, there seems to be quite a disagreement between each side over what exactly this bill says. So for a parliamentary question, I'd like to request that the entire bill be read.
Gentlelady's request will not be entertained.
Gentlewoman's request will be not entertained.
Well then, let's read some of the rules. You keep saying it doesn't violate religious freedoms when in fact it does. It says so directly here in the bill, in these sections, and it's a shame that we aren't reading the exact text because it's the text that matters. It doesn't matter what you have to say or what I have to say, it's the actual wording. In section 1107, it actually talks about religious freedom. Restoration Act of 1993 shall not provide a claim concerning or a defense to a claim under a covered title or provide a basis for challenging the application or enforcement of a covered title. This bill in the text also specifically talks about, with respect to gender identity, an individual shall not be denied access to a shared facility, including a restroom, a locker room, a dressing room that is in accordance with the individual's gender and identity.
Time has expired.
Thank you.
Speaker, I yield my colleague an additional 15 seconds just to close.
Gentlewoman is recognized for an additional 15 seconds.
Thank you very much. In the wording in the text of the bill of the Equality Act, it also says, with respect to sex, pregnancy, childbirth, or a related medical condition shall not receive less favorable treatment than other physical conditions. As a parliamentary question, what does that mean? Does that mean that anyone can demand an abortion and it's discrimination to be refused this medical service?
Time has expired. Gentleman from Pennsylvania reserves. Gentlewoman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
Thank you. With respect to the gentlelady's question, with respect to the language in question, it has long been held by our courts that the Religious Freedom Restoration Act does not apply to civil rights laws. The Equality Act looks to treat LGBTQ individuals the same way, or to treat discrimination against LGBTQ individuals the same way as other forms of discrimination, including racial discrimination. So these arguments they don't hold water. And with that, I'd reserve.
If you've been wondering what someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene sounds like when they're trying to make an asinine point on the floor of the House of Representatives, now you know. Thankfully, she was shut down in relatively short order by her colleague who set the record straight. But unfortunately, she will likely be wasting time like this trying to construct arguments based off of lies and misrepresentations for at least the next 2 years, as her fellow Republicans in the House seem to have embraced her and welcomed her to their ranks. And on top of all that, she is in particularly good graces with Donald Trump, who appears to remain the de facto kingmaker of the Republican Party for the time being. Now, digging into the substance of what Marjorie Taylor Greene was objecting to, honestly, there is no substance. The entire point that she was trying to make is irrelevant when looked at in the context of existing laws that surround discrimination on the basis of race or gender. What the Equality Act seeks to do is to enshrine those same protections to people in the LGBT community, hardly an affront to anyone's religious freedom. But the root of it, though, is that people on the far right feel that it is their right to be able to discriminate against people. In this case, discriminate against people because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. But when you break it down that way, though, it doesn't seem like a very compelling argument, which is why Marjorie Taylor Greene and people like her instead prefer to misdirect, misrepresent, and outright lie to try and make a point to persuade people into their corner. Religious freedom is a core aspect of being an American. It's literally a part of the First Amendment. But freedom to worship does not mean the freedom to discriminate, which is an important point that I think sometimes gets lost by conservatives.